am Shelley LaRose Arkin. I was the commissioner here at the airport for the past 9 years, and my friend and colleague, Robert Schneider, is now the commissioner of the airport. I have taken on a new role as executive project leader for significant projects like this that affect the airport. Long Island MacArthur Airport is a regional asset to all of our Long Island community. We have about $600 million in economic impact to the area every year. We employ more than 6,000 people directly and indirectly, and we're all fairly certain that that number has grown. The integration of the airport's terminal to the Ronkonkoma rail station via a connector, whether it's on the south side or the north side, this has been talked about by the Long Island community and businesses for over 60 years. So we are super excited to see folks from all over the world represented here today to help us make this project come to fruition. Our airport obviously is very positively supported by our town supervisor, Angie Carpenter, and also our members of our town board. And we are thrilled to have everyone here today. And I would like to introduce to you Supervisor Angie Carpenter, who is a strong advocate for our airport.
Thank you very much, Sharon. So I've been honorably tasked with doing the official welcome to Industry Day. It's so exciting for us here today. The response has been absolutely overwhelming. There are 130 participants representing 54 firms. And we have attendees coming from all over North America, Europe, Canada, and of course the United States. So we are really super excited. The RFQ went live on April 1st, and to date there have been over 7,000 visitors to the site. So it really has shown the absolute interest and viability of what we're proposing here. As those of you who may have arrived on the railroad today saw that connectivity certainly is something that we can use. Even an Uber ride costs you over $20 now. So this really will be very exciting. I want to say a few thank yous to everyone who came here today, and for those who have been part of the team in some way or another, who have been so supportive. And I have to start with the members of the town board, and they are all here today, and I would ask that you stand when I mention your name so that everyone can know who you are. And I'll just start right here. Councilman Michael McGelway. Councilman Jorge Guadron. Councilman Jim O'Connor. Councilman John Lorenzo. Our town clerk is also here, Linda Everica. Also to the consultants who have been working really hard, Steve Kaplan and Peter Kirsch from Kaplan and Kirsch, and Larry Belinsky from Frasca, as well as to our partners at LMB and Logan Smith. We thank you all for your steadfast dedication in getting us to this point. Also, thank you to our local business groups who are here today and have been supportive for years. We have represented, well, first of all, Manny Arasage from the building trades has been a cheerleader for the airport and continues to do so. Manny, thank you so much. The LIA, the HIA, who helped us with the survey when we were trying to recruit airlines. ABLI, Kyle Strober, who's here. LIMBA, the MacArthur Business Alliance, I know I saw Chris Paluccio, Discover Long Island, and certainly the Chambers of Commerce from across the county, including our own main cheerleader, Rick Amorati from the Holbrook Chamber of Commerce. And also the Town of Islip Airport Advisory Board. This is made up of business leaders, transportation experts who have been meeting regularly over the years, helping guide us and getting us to where we are today. Mitch Pally has been the chair of that, and Mitch, I thank you for your service in that endeavor. Also, thank you to Governor Kathy Hochul, who was down here in this very spot a couple of months ago announcing a $150 million infrastructure grant for the airport. And on the heels of that, County Executive Ed Romaine announced $50 million from the county. So there is this coming together of everyone who really recognizes, and as Shelley said, this is something that has been talked about for years, and it will be wonderful not to have to say to people, how come the terminal is where it is and not near the railroad station? So hopefully we will be addressing that as we move forward. Again, you know, the governor has been so very supportive, and when she announced the grant, specifically talked about the increased connectivity that was necessary from the terminal to the train station. And we're joined today by members of her team, Rob Calarco, who is no stranger here to us in Suffolk County, and Tom Conoscenti. So, gentlemen, thank you very much, and please extend to the governor our sincerest gratitude. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Shelley LaRose Arkin, who has been the commissioner here and has overseen a period of growth here at the airport with all of these partners, and is now turning the mantle of leadership over to Rob Schneider. So it's going to be an exciting time, and this project is just blows your mind. It's really wonderful. So some of the updates from the airport in the last 10 years, I'm looking back, I've been here 10 years, we've gone from one airline, and today, coincidentally, and serendipitously have announced that Cape Air will be starting service July 3rd, flying the route from Islip to Boston. There'll be 4 trips a day, and that certainly is going to be very appealing to the business community. Certainly the welcoming of JetBlue to our family of airlines here with Breeze and Frontier and Southwest was met with a lot of excitement. Last year at the airport we served 1,300,000 or more than that passengers, and our enplanements increased over 6.9%, nearly 7%, and our deplanements, the number of people coming into our area, increased even more, over 7.1%. The seat capacity has increased 10% over other airports in the region. We have grown where others haven't, and last year, USA Today named Island MacArthur Airport one of the third best airport in the country, and we know it is soon to be the best. So to everyone that helped get us here today, just a heartfelt thank you. We just can't thank you enough. I know I speak for the town board. We are also very, very excited of the possibilities that this means, again, not just to the airport, not just to our town, but to the region. So thank you all.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. I'm Rob Schneider. I'm the Deputy Commissioner. I'm the Commissioner of the airport. I have been the Deputy Commissioner for the past 9 years, serving under the Supervisor's leadership, and I'm happy to accept this new role as the Commissioner to lead the airport into the future. I'd be remiss if I didn't call out the presiding officer from the county legislature, who is here as well, Kevin McCaffrey. Thank you for attending, sir. We have a fairly quick presentation today. We're going to try to keep it short for the essence of time because we're under a time crunch, but this presentation is designed to give the proposers and other stakeholders an overview of the RFQ and the opportunity that's going to be presented here at Island MacArthur Airport. Assisting the town with this procurement and speaking today, we have Logan Smith from Landry & Brown. He is our airport planning consultant. We have Larry Belinsky from Fraskin Associates. He is our financial consultant. We have Adam Giano from Kaplan & Kirsch, our airport legal counsel. This is going to be discussed further in the deck, but these individuals are on a restricted list for communications regarding the RFQ process. So if you have any questions regarding the process and the procurement, the contact is our Deputy Town Attorney, Amy Murphy, who's sitting in the front row over here.
And thank you, Amy, for all of your help.
This is an overview of the town government and the governmental stakeholders. The town is led by the supervisor, which is similar to a mayor. It's an elected position to manage government services. The town board is the legislative branch and approves the town's budget, contracts, passes resolution, and enacts legislation. The town board is comprised of 5 members, including the town supervisor and 4 council members who each represent their own districts. The town owns the airport, and the airport is managed under the town's Department of Aviation. We have additional key stakeholders, Suffolk County being one of them, as the supervisor has already mentioned. They own the land between the airport and the Ronkonkoma train station. They've also issued a request for expressions of interest, an RFEI, for the development of its property, and they've pledged $50 million in funds to develop the area surrounding the train station. Our other key stakeholder is the state of New York. Governor Kathy Hochul has pledged $150 million from the state for the development of infrastructure for the train station, including for a multimodal connection to the airport. This is an overview of the town of Islip. The town has a population of 340,000 people. It's actually the 3rd largest town in the state of New York. It's centrally located on Long Island. It's about equal distance from New York City as well as eastern Long Island. It's about a 60-minute drive time without traffic each way, east and west. Some of the largest employers in the town of Islip are Catholic Health Services, Nature's Bounty, and Collins Aerospace. The town of Islip is located in Suffolk County. To the west of Suffolk is our neighbor county, Nassau. Together we have a combined population of 3 million people, which is larger than a lot of small cities in the United States. So this airport does have a very large catchment area. And speaking of its catchment area, over the last decade we've worked very hard to make sure that our catchment area has grown. And it's grown to nearly reflect the 3 million people between both of these counties, as we've continued to drive demand further into western Nassau County while having residents reverse leakage and commute east to ISP rather than utilizing the Port Authority airports when non-stop service is offered from ISP. Some of the largest employers in Suffolk County are Northwell Health, Stony Brook University, and Brookhaven National Lab. The airport's obviously attractive because of its central geographic location and also because of the potential from the multimodal connections that we have. As you can see from this slide, the airport is due south of the Long Island Railroad Ronkonkoma train station. It's marked by a little train icon on the north. We're just directly south of that. Amtrak right now is currently studying extending potential new 3 times daily service from Washington, D.C. to Long Island from the Ronkonkoma train station, which is very exciting. The travel time to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. would be comparable to drive-in. That's not including the insidious city traffic, so it'll probably be a much better experience than sitting in the car. MacArthur Airport is easily accessible from I-495, which is better known around here as the Long Island Expressway, and also Sunrise Highway. Long Island Railroad has made a huge investment in its modernization program. The pink line that you see on the deck represents east side access, the orange line represents third rail, and the purple line represents double track. All of these improvements combined were over $14 billion in capital improvements. At this time, I'm going to pass it off to Logan Smith from Landrum & Brown. Logan is going to give us a quick overview of the airport.
Thanks, Rob. So the overall airport is operated by the Town of Islip. It's for public use, commercial services. It's a small hub airport. And the overall airport is over 1,300 acres. It has 3 runways, so there's 2 longer light blue lines on the main commercial runways, and the smaller blue line coming off the southeast there is for general aviation. ISP has its own Class C airspace, which means that it's fully autonomous from the more congested New York City Class B airspace. That's, I think, a big selling point here with the ISP airport. At the bottom of the page, or to the south there, that's the main terminal, and to the west of that are all the fixed base operators. At the north end of the site, you have the compost facility, that large gray square up there. That's also owned by the Town of Islip. To the east, that green area, that's a fully wooded area, that's within the airport perimeter, and also owned by the Town of Islip. It will be critical for any developer to fully comply with all FAA requirements. That includes runway protection zones, building height limitations, and other FAA criteria. So in terms of the passenger facilities, there's the main terminal and Concourse A. Both these facilities are owned by the Town of Islip, but Concourse B is currently being leased with Southwest Airlines. That lease ends in 2029, so Southwest controls a total of 8 gates. It's all gates at the airport. However, some of those are being leased back to other airlines, so it's not just Southwest operating here. There's many other airlines operating at the airport. The main terminal includes the ticketing areas, bag claim, there's office space, backhouse support space. So many of these facilities are located actually in the main terminal, which is owned and operated by the town. The other facilities include the ground transportation center. This includes all the rental cars, taxis, Ubers, and this really expands the landside capacity of the airport. And there's also ample parking, around 4,500 parking spaces in front of the terminal there. And so those are all flat lawn parking areas. Okay, back to that. Thank you.
Employments have increased year over year since first professionalizing the Air Service Development Program back in 2016. It's important to note ISP has fewer delays and cancellations and better on-time performance than our competitor airports JFK and LaGuardia. ISP also provides a cost-effective, efficient operation for its air carriers while providing a superior customer experience for our passengers. In fact, USA Today recognized how incredible this airport is, and ISP was voted as the third best small airport in the United States, which is absolutely wonderful. It's fantastic. We've been voted by USA Today several times. We've reached top 5 before, but top 3 is the best that we've done, and we strive to be number 1, and we're going to get there. In 2016, the airport had 2 carriers, only 2. Southwest and US Airways were the only carriers we had with service to only 6 nonstop destinations. That all changed in 2017 when Frontier launched an inaugural service from ISP. Followed by Breeze in 2022, JetBlue in 2024, Avelo in 2025. And today, as the supervisor already mentioned, we're proud to announce our 6th newest carrier to Island MacArthur Airport, Cape Air. Cape Air will begin service on July 3rd with 4 times daily service to Boston on their Tecnam P2012 Traveler and 36 daily seats and an additional 252 ASMs weekly. So not only do we have a strong commercial operation, but ISP is a thriving general aviation community as well. We have 2 fixed-based operators on the field, Modern Aviation, which is our largest FBO with hangars located on the south and the west side of the field. We also have a smaller but another fantastic FBO, Mid-Island Air Service, which is located on the southwest side of the airfield. As you can see from this bar graph, this shows year-over-year employment growth until 2020 when COVID hit. However, this bar also depicts how ISP has recovered exceptionally well post-COVID. In fact, ISP is on pace to pass our 2019 employment levels this year, which happened to be the highest on record for this airport in nearly 20 years. So passengers and service are continuing to grow as part of our aggressive and strategic air service development. Also important to note on this slide, you'll see the projected planning level activities. This RFQ will require the construction of the terminal for current and future expansion to meet the projected planning activity levels that are reflected on this slide. At this point, I'm going to turn it over now to Larry Belinsky from Frasca Associates, our financial advisor.
Thank you, Rob. Obviously, as part of this project are revenues that can be generated to support the development of the terminal opportunities. Those revenues are, the initial revenues are listed here: terminal lease and fees, terminal concessions, rental cars, parking, and other. I want to just take a minute to talk about the other. As part of the opportunity, if there is a desire by the entities to develop airport-related projects at the airport, those would also be taken under consideration by the town and the airport for consideration and evaluation as a means of augmenting revenues to both the developer and to the airport. recognize, the town and the airport also recognize that CPE will have to increase because of the level of investment here. The town and the airport are open to that increase in CPE, provided obviously for the developer and the airport that the CPE remains competitive to allow for future air service development at the airport, which is really probably the greatest growth opportunity. Given its proximity to the city, given the catchment area that Rob spoke to, there is opportunity to grow here. Also mention that the airport is not part of the JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark Airport airspace, which lends itself for much more on-time flights coming in and out, and the future development of Amtrak potentially coming out here in the Long Island Railroad all bring together a multitude of forces that should make this airport utilization much higher than it is today. As we look at the next slide, again, over the last 10 years, there's been approximately $140 million of capital improvements done on the airfield and in the terminal. That 140 has been completed or under work now. So that's another significant improvement and a testament to the town and the airport's desire to maintain the resources here at the airport to allow for that future growth. I'd like to now turn it over to Adam, who will kind of talk everyone through and the procurement process that's been outlined in the RFQ. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to Shelley.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the opportunities that are available to all of you today. There are two opportunities. One is to modernize our existing terminal that we're in today with a connection to the Ronkonkoma Station rail line, as well as a north terminal option. The entire airport is not available as part of this procurement, so I'm going to emphasize that. We are talking about two terminal opportunities with connectivity to the rail line. In the RFQ, you can learn more about the town's objectives, but I did want to highlight a few things. The town is really seeking to partner with an industry professional to inform and provide town leadership with innovative solutions to connect a terminal to the rail station. Either opportunity does include, as Larry indicated, other airport-related projects to support the finances of the connectivity as well as the terminal. The solutions must be innovative, they must be modern, they must be commensurate with the level of activity and growth that are anticipated for this airport. They should also be cost-effective, not only for the town, but for our airlines and its customers. With respect to CPE in particular, we are not a LaGuardia and we are not a Kennedy Airport. So if you could keep that in mind as you're putting together proposals. And the solution should also offer the town a business opportunity that helps the town financially support its airport well into the future. So, and it should also promote economic development, obviously, for all of Long Island as an economic asset. Essential elements of the proposal should include a seamless connection to the Ronkonkoma train station, offer a customer experience that is commensurate with what our customers enjoy today, which is a very ease of access in terms of getting through TSA lines, parking, etc., getting to gates easily, and they are very accessible to individuals, families, individuals with disabilities. It should also contain a federal inspection station. A number of our carriers have expressed an interest over the years of providing international service, so the federal inspection station would allow us to process those international passengers. In addition to that, it should also contain a general aviation facility. Today we have about 200 to 300 international arrivals that come in on general aviation aircraft, and obviously those passengers need to be processed when they get here. Elements should also include the ability for the terminal to accommodate future passenger growth. The team should consider a robust plan to increase air service and offer Long Island travelers more nonstop destinations. We know that customers who consider and use this airport once will choose it yet again for nonstop service over JFK, which is our primary competitor. The solution should also, or elements should also include a comprehensive marketing program that capture more of the New York metro market. The overview of the existing terminal, if you look to the left-hand corner, you'll see Modern Aviation. Modern Aviation, as Rob said, is one of our 2 fixed-base operators or service stations for airplanes. For those of you who may not be familiar, Mid-Island Air Service is our second fixed-base operator here on the field. Both have been in service here for a number of years. Concourse B, you'll see kind of working your way clockwise, is a decommissioned terminal. It's actually located just behind baggage claim here. It was a prefab 1990s trailer that was never meant to be permanent and ended up being permanent, obviously. But a few years ago, we decommissioned it because it was no longer usable after a storm we had. The Central Concourse building, which is this sitting right behind us, it's an oval-shaped structure. It was built in the 1960s. We have obviously done a lot of improvements to the baggage claim unit, the ticketing wing, as well as the central terminal building, and we've upgraded critical systems. That project was about $30 million to improve those sections of the ticketing, baggage, as well as the central terminal wing. Concourse A was built by Southwest in the early 2000s. Southwest obviously started its operations in New York, right here at Long Island MacArthur Airport. They had about 43 nonstop destinations that were served out of this airport. When they decided to put part of their operation at LaGuardia, obviously they've downsized and they have excess space, so we have been leasing back gates A1 through A4 to accommodate our carriers. A5 through 8 are currently exclusively used by Southwest until 2029 when their long-term lease ends. Working our way down to ground transportation, which is sort of in the bottom corner of this exhibit, and we would encourage you all to go and take a look at that facility. It's only connected by a walkway, a covered walkway, to our airport terminal building. It's near the security checkpoint. We did an $18 million renovation of an older building to accommodate all of our rental cars, which are now Avis budget, and as well as Enterprise, who are currently located there. The entire terminal here is approximately 300,000 square feet, just so that you know. Again, as Rob said, our parking lot accommodates anywhere between 4,500 to 5,000 parking stalls, and we'll go into the next. Connectivity to the rail station could occur along the east side of the airport. We do have an airport service road that is highlighted in blue. That's probably the best route to provide any connectivity between the south terminal and the railroad station. It's about 2 miles long, and we have indicated in this opportunity that the connectivity should not be provided by a shuttle bus, that it should be some sort of automated, seamless, great customer experience solution. Reliability and maintenance are obviously critical to this connectivity, and as Logan said, keep in mind the runway protection zones, keep in mind the runway safety areas as you're looking for different alternatives, and also the FAA Part 77 services. The connection should be a modern solution, easily accommodate passengers, and meet all ADA requirements for that solution. If you take a look at the west side of the airport, we would not eliminate that, it's just, you should know that the town does not own the roads, with the exception of Railroad Avenue on the west side of the airport. The second opportunity is a north terminal option. The county owns the Long Island Railroad parking lot, which is highlighted on the north part of the screen. The area inside the red dotted lines are basically available for development of the north terminal. The distance from the town's property to the station, so that north property line is less than 1,800 feet, and could be a climate-controlled walkway that is not, it could be an elevated walkway, but it should be a seamless connection again to the terminal. This parcel of land is largely green space. There's no infrastructure there at this time. The town compost facility is located in the middle of that green space and would be closed. The railroad Avenue again is owned by the airport. On the northeast corner of the runway protection, on the northeast corner of the parcel, you'll see the runway protection zone. There's an intersection at Railroad and Smithtown Avenue that proposers should take a hard look at. There are also two FAA facilities on this property. The RTR and the ASR are located on them. Any or all space would be made available for the development teams to put together ideas that would benefit the town, the airport, and of course our community, while keeping in mind that financially responsible solutions are preferred. I'd like to introduce to you Adam. We'll go over the procurement.
So good morning, everyone, and I have the enviable task of not only being the final speaker, but the one who gets to talk about the rules and procurement, which is what I know you've all come here for. But I'm going to make a deal with you, and I will keep it brief and in summary form because you have the slides to take away, and you all look like a very diligent crew. I know you will all read the RFQ and then read it again. So with that deal amongst us, I will keep this to the minimum here. The first thing that we all want to emphasize here is the timeline. This is a progressive process, and we want to ensure that you familiarize yourselves with the timeline, particularly if you're participating in the process, and you keep track of that, and you keep track of any updates that are provided by the town. What the town wants to emphasize is a goal of proceeding, particularly through the second phase of the process, which will lead to the ultimate selection in an expedited manner as quickly as possible, and looking to get to a preferred proposer by January next year, if not sooner. And so that is really a point of emphasis. The other point of emphasis is simply that the process will provide opportunities for comment, feedback, and interaction that obviously begins today and will continue throughout the process. A core part of participation is the teaming concept, and within teams, as is relatively customary, there are different hats, different roles that the town has identified. We emphasize that these are, well, some of them may be familiar, others have really been customized for the opportunity, for the progressive approach, for state law considerations, and for the needs of an airport. So, for example, the Air Service Development Manager is a unique type of role. It's a role that can be fulfilled by an individual or an entity, a corporation. There are also restrictions in how, for example, construction firms can or cannot participate throughout the process that are driven by state law considerations, and we emphasize the importance of having attention to these roles and also thinking about who are the best partners to include on a team in each of these roles, because that will be evaluated as part of the shortlisting process during stage one. With regard to that, I think there's a point of emphasis as well we wish to make, which is opportunities for participation in a progressive process that begins with the pre-development agreement phase. And this is likely self-evident, but it's important to bear in mind. For those of you in the room who are potential principal participants or key personnel, your opportunity to participate is now, and to join a team in that formalized way to present your credentials. But In addition, there will be future opportunities down the road where those teams will have to be filled out under the pre-development phase when the project is being progressed, with additional consultants, sub-consultants, individuals to be engaged. And for those of you in the room who are looking for those types of opportunities, obviously this itself is a chance to mingle and introduce each other, but also that those that this is not sort of a one-shot. This is a process in which there will be various points in time in which individuals and corporations will be joining the teams and be engaging in the project as it moves forward through the procurement phase, the pre-development phase, and ultimately the terminal project delivery and operation phase. So where are we now? We are, and I don't know if we have a little bit of feedback here, but hopefully that's okay for everyone. We're at the stage one of this process, and the first submission will be the statements of qualification for this first stage. These statements and the way in which a short list of proposers will be arrived at emphasizes qualifications. That's why we started with emphasizing the team membership that is the building block for those qualifications. The one takeaway that I think is important to highlight here that is in the RFQ, which I know you've all read and will read again, is with respect to the two options that were highlighted a moment ago, the north and the south options. The RFQ requests that the teams identify which option they will be pursuing at this first stage, but that is not an evaluated criteria. So there's no judgment made with regard to which option you choose. You have to make the choice. But the selection of the proposals will be based on qualifications, not on whether they are choosing to pursue north or south at this initial phase in terms of selecting the best qualified teams. So this is, as I've touched upon, it's a progressive delivery approach. What does that mean? That means that there will be a sequence of agreements that the town will ultimately enter into. And the first one, the primary emphasis here, is on a pre-development agreement that will govern the next phase of the process prior to a formal final terminal development agreement under which the project will actually be constructed, delivered, and progressed. We anticipate that the terms of that pre-development agreement will be familiar to a number of you out there who participated on similar arrangements in the past. The terms of that will be disclosed in the near future as indicated in the RFQ initially through a term sheet. And so we invite you to keep an eye out for that term sheet when it comes out and eventually the full terms of the agreement, which will indicate to you how the town indicates they're going to proceed with the ultimately selected proposer here. Okay, so in terms of the requirements to participate, there's sort of a lot of details here. I'm not going to read it all, but I think the important point of emphasis, I'm looking here at a number of elected officials and members of the town attorney's office, so I'm going to emphasize this point. I'm sure they would all agree, is it's very important to just follow the rules in any procurement in any state, particularly here in New York State. And the rules are enumerated here in the RFQ. This includes a quiet period. This includes restrictions on contacting us, on contacting other individuals with the team, employees, elected officials, and so forth. As you all know, procurement integrity is very, very important and paramount. And we just invite you to look at those rules, as well as additional legal requirements that are set forth in the RFQ itself. And then, as I indicated a moment ago, in the future PDA, it will answer questions you may have regarding the environmental issues, other procedural issues, how the planning of the project will advance once the agreement is signed. There are a number of additional elements that are relevant to pursuing the opportunity. Some of these relate to assumptions that will be that are stated regarding funding, finance, opportunities for the future project. A number of those are already in the RFQ. As I indicated, those of you who are participating should continue to follow additional addenda and the future terms of agreements that will give attention to assumptions that are important regarding things like funding, and financial terms and so forth. And in addition, construction requirements that will apply to a future construction period related to the project. So, that's the key point there. The one other thing I would mention with regard to remember these requirements, and there'll be opportunities in one-on-ones and through future dialogue to dive into the details. But this is a New York State project that was said at the outset, a point that I think is important to emphasize. It's a town-owned airport. Not all airports in New York State are owned by municipalities or towns. The fact that it's owned by the town, that we're talking about a town under New York State law, that lends this project certain requirements and subjects it to certain state laws regarding procurement, contracting with construction contractors, doing public works, looking at things like project labor agreements that are in the RFQ that would have to be given attention to, and that the project has been customized to account for. All of that we can have conversations about. There's been disclosures about that, but I emphasize that if you've done, particularly if you're coming to New York State, you've done projects elsewhere, even with the Port Authority, each of those has a different framework in which that project proceeded. This is a particularized framework for this town, for this airport, and we've given attention to that, and we hope that you would do the same. I mentioned a moment ago restrictions on communications. I've been asked not to point fingers, but there's a person in the room who is the permitted person for whom you can communicate. It is written out in the RFQ. Please only direct your communications again in the manner provided for in the RFQ. That's very important. Though with restrictions comes an invitation. The RFQ does also invite comments, and that those comments will continue to be invited from the shortlisted proposers. And so a channel has been laid, and there will be an opportunity for dialogue as appropriate for this type of project. And the last point is just looking ahead to next steps. The RFQ, and we have laid out a number of steps. Next steps immediately leading up to the submission of the stage 1 SOQs, following which we will have the anticipated of the 3 proposers selected for shortlisting and for the second stage of the process. I cannot emphasize enough for all of us the great enthusiasm the town has for this project. Hopefully you all share that, and with that I can think of no one better to sort of convey that enthusiasm and thanks than the supervisor herself. So I'll turn it back over to her.
Thank you very much, Adam. Yeah, we are excited. There is a lot of enthusiasm about this, and the turnout here this morning certainly validates that. Adam was very specific, and I appreciate that, and I know the town board does too. We want to do this right. We want to do this right, and we want to do it quickly. And we've got everything in place to make sure that happens. We all need to follow the rules. We have our point of contact. And please come away from this today knowing that we are excited. We want you to be successful. So, on behalf of the town board, the team that's up here, we wish you luck and happy to work. Thank you.